Boom! What's going on, faithfuls? The Nothing But Niners crew is here. Have another roundtable discussion, man. Today we're going to talk a little bit of Reuben Foster. We're going to talk about the draft. We're going to get a couple of guests on to pop in and share some thoughts with us. But before we get into the nitty gritty, I want to let you guys know where to find us. Check out the website, www.nothingbutniners.com. You're going to see a bunch of articles there from a slew of good writers. You're also going to see our social media pages there. Twitter, Snapchat, Nothing But Nine ERS. Make sure you follow us on both of those accounts over there, all right? Always have some good content for you. Check us out on Facebook. That is Nothing But Niner, spelled all the way out. No space, no words in between or anything like that. Make sure you click the like button. If you've been there before, ask someone else to stop on by and do the same thing for us, okay? And then we have, what's the one I'm forgetting? I'm forgetting something. Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook. I don't know. You guys, you'll find it all over there on the website. So make sure you check it out. www.nothingbutniners.com. And this is your first time watching a YouTube video from us. We want to thank you for stopping by. You're going to want to click the subscribe button because we have a lot of stuff coming for you guys this off season and heading into the season. You are not going to want to miss. I promise. So today, so far, we got Dylan, Nick, and Stefan in here. Let's start with Nick. What's going on, man? How you doing over there?
What up, Mike? What up, Stefan? Dylan? What's going on? Faithful? How's everyone doing today?
Good, good, good. Stefan, what's up with you, man? How you doing?
Yeah, it's all right. It's just nice evening talk, 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
Closing off the day.
My man is international, guys. So if you didn't know, Stefan has a little bit of an accent. You probably heard it a time or two. It slips out every once in a while. And my man Dylan also. What's going on, D? How you doing?
Good, good. How about you?
I'm all right, man. Dylan's in the middle of doing a fantasy draft or something like that. Apparently, these things take forever. I don't know much about them, so if Dylan spaces out, you guys know why. Someone took one of his guys or something. I don't know. All right, so guys, we want to kick this thing off with the Reuben Foster talk. We want to do an update. We did not do a breaking news a couple of days ago or a week ago when the news right before the draft. So it was a Wednesday night. So we're talking like a week and 3 days now. The news came out immediately before the draft that Reuben Foster's ex-girlfriend recanted her statement. We remember that she hired a lawyer the week before that. And usually when that happens in these kind of cases, the person is interested in withdrawing their statement, but they want to see what kind of legal trouble they're going to be in. There was a lot of speculation. Some people thought that it was a negative thing for Reuben Foster that she did that, and that she was possibly going to really, really go after him. That turns out not to be the case so far. Nothing is done yet with this case. There's a trial, a court date that's pending here. But as of right now, the young lady has recanted her statement. And they have provided a video, in fact, of the altercation between her and another female. And that's where she got the damage to her eardrum and so on and so forth. So it's something to keep an eye on. But this was a problem that 49er fans were arguing over. We even on this channel here were accused of being domestic violence supporters, believe it or not. Who the fuck would have thought something like that would come out of someone's mouth? But yeah, it happened. And yet here we are. So from the beginning, we have said that we're going to monitor this closely like the team is, and we're not going to assume anything. We obviously want the best for everyone involved. But as of right now, nothing has changed except the fact that the young lady has withdrawn her statement. She basically said that she made it up. We saw that if you leave me, I will ruin your career quote come out. You guys have any thoughts on any of this? How do you guys feel about it? And what were you guys talk about the emotional roller coaster that we were going through as fans of this team? You know, people are going to associate it with, oh, well, Reuben Foster is just your favorite player, so that's why. No, I'm going to kick it off with this. Personally, I'm tired of the 49ers picking fuck-ups. And that's where my mindset was. It wasn't about Reuben Foster in particular. It was that every time the 49ers seem to get someone that's decent, the guy gets in a lot of trouble. We got to do a better job of sorting through these messes and weeding these guys out. But maybe, just maybe, we dodged a bullet here. So anybody want to go first? You guys just go ahead and jump in here.
Yeah, I would like to go first because when the news came out that he allegedly hit his girlfriend and dragged her out of the house and ruptured her eardrum, almost the entire fan base was ready to lynch him. Because, as you said, the fan base has had enough of all them. I hate to bring this up, but Alden Smith is the perfect example. It's an uber talented player, just not not in the right mindset, and also it seemed. And now, then some were saying, well, let's have a due process. Then others were saying, well, Tremaine Brock was alleged to hit his girlfriend, and he was let go the next day. It was a complete mess from start to finish. I think John Lynch, they had the version of Reuben Foster, he and Kyle Shanahan, and they were pretty sure what to do with him. They stuck by him and let him be on the team, didn't immediately cut him because of public pressure. And it seems like this was a bit of an overreaction in the beginning, because now you're just guilty before anything, just an allegation and you're guilty. And it's a roller coaster and emotional, because everyone's screaming at everyone, and maybe it calms down now.
Yeah. I'm hoping you're right. And, you know, I'm going to go ahead and I think Nick looked like he wanted to jump in there. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it, but it wasn't just the Alden Smith thing that was happening. You had Bruce Miller going through it also. And like you said, Tremaine Brock, it was just player after player after player with this BS that was just coming. It seemed to be nonstop. There were people who were saying John Lynch shouldn't have his job anymore from one year. 1 year, it was a lot. So much outrage was going on, and people cut him immediately. Absolutely, and the Niners came out and they made their statement that if any player on this team puts their hands on the female, they are gone. Yet Reuben Foster was still around, so that was a good sign, I think, to show that this team kind of had a feeling of what was really going on behind the scenes. So, Nick, please, man, give us your thoughts again on all this.
Well, Mike, you know, I was with you in the beginning, all about due process and all this other stuff with the whole Reuben Foster thing. Sorry, Alex Sandoval is going to actually be joining us. I just sent him the link just so you guys know when he pops in. But anyway, at first, man, I was just like, we got to let due process take this over. We got to see what the truth is. And what stuck out to me the first time was when you heard the lawyer say, it's all good, all the truth will come out. And everybody's just like, oh, well, that's what the lawyer's going to say because that's what his job is, blah, 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 blah. But eventually, you know, when I heard that, the same thing that Stefan said, when I heard that he busted this girl's eardrum, pulled her out, punched 8 to 10 times, I'm like, he's got to go. Like, if he really laid a hand on this woman, he's got to go. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. And there wasn't really that due process feeling kind of dropped from me. But then it was weird because it was crazy timing. It was like charges were pressed, 2 or 3 weeks prior to the draft. And then she was coming out a day before the draft and recanting of what she said and bringing it back. So the timing was really weird. So I think everybody's emotions were kind of mixed because it went from who we should draft defensively, edge rusher or linebacker position to fill that need. And we didn't end up doing either one of those, but we'll talk about that later. But Alex, yes, that will work on your phone. So, I mean, the whole situation was kind of sticky with me in the beginning because, one, I'm not a big – I mean, obviously I don't support males hitting females. If he did lay a hand on her, I think that he should be released. I think anybody in the NFL shouldn't be having the luxury of playing in the NFL if that type of person. But yeah, man, I don't know. The whole charges thing, like you were saying, me and you spoke about this, Mike, before was, well, the DA supposedly had this video the whole time, but then a report came out that they didn't. They just received it. So if they would have had it the whole time and the DA said, because the DA even came in and said, we're pressing charges whether she drops charges or not. If that's the case right there, they felt like they had a case. But obviously, if they didn't have the video then, and now they have the video of her fighting another female and getting her ass whooped or whatever happened, now they're kind of stuck in between because they can't determine if he really did this or he didn't do it. And, Now there's really nothing to press charges on. They're going to try to get him on the other charges, though, as much as possible because of that fact of them dropping the charges and stuff like that. So I don't know what happened that day of the arraignment. I know that they moved the arraignment for the drug charge to like June or something like that. I don't know if anybody else knows what the date was, but
yeah. And then I think Wednesday is the date for the other one. That's when the DA is supposed to reconvene and get back to us. So, Dylan, really quick, your thoughts on everything.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad that they let everything work out. But, you know, honestly, rather than looking back on it and just talking about what happened and all that, I'd rather look at what's going to happen. Because just because he gets out of the legal trouble doesn't mean Roger Goodell is going to let him off. Okay, he also has the marijuana charge. He also, I'm sure Roger Goodell is not too happy about the gun thing either. So I would still expect a suspension. Nowhere near what it was before more news had come out. But, you know, Roger is heavy on the weed punishment. Sorry. He's heavy on the weed punishment. And, you know, I mean, I just expect still probably a 3 or 4 game, honestly.
Yeah, it's very likely. And then we have a guest in here who just popped in. My man Alex, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's up, you guys? Nothing much. I'm right here with the family going out to eat, but I seen you guys on Twitter how to jump in, you know what I mean? Talk about my Niners just like I do, like I love to do all day on Twitter, you know, _Acer1, ASER1, and we're right there talking about 49ers all day, every day, as much as we possibly can. So, yeah, I'm glad to join you guys.
Thanks for jumping in, man. So let me ask you a question. When the Reuben Foster news first broke, what was your initial reaction? I know you said you're with the family, so I don't want you cursing or anything like that if there's children in there. But tell us how you originally felt when you first heard the news, and then how you feel now knowing what's going on with the case and the young lady saying that Reuben never touched her and they have video to prove it. And I think he froze. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, with the Reuben Foster case, when it first broke, I really kind of looked at what happened with Zeke Elliott, and I was like, well, hold on, everybody just needs to kind of pump the brakes real quick. And you've seen a lot of people on Twitter going, cut the dude right away. We don't need him around here. And a lot of times people are like that. They're quick to be like that when it comes to the players. But as you can see with a lot of other stuff going on in the league, there's a lot of other things going on that with people that aren't players, like in the front office, that they want to turn the other cheek with. You know what I mean? So when the story ended up coming out that he really didn't hit her and everything like that, it kind of, you know what I mean? Everybody changed their minds and what they're trying to say and stuff like that. But it all came out. Now, I know how Roger Goodell is when it comes to a lot of things like that. And I expect him to be suspended at least. I mean, they gave Zeke Elliott 6 games. I expect them to do something like that to Ruben Foster and stuff, regardless of how the case breaks open. But it's starting to look like he didn't do nothing like that. And how everybody was coming at John Lynch sideways for kind of, you know what I mean, not really jumping the gun on the issue. But as we're seeing right now, we're actually in a good place right now with Ruben in this situation. As long as everything kind of plays out perfect and, you know, we have a star linebacker right there, you know what I mean? So that's how I feel about it. I never really kind of looked at him sideways, cut him out, because, you know, things happen. This is a young man too, and he just graduated from college, and, you know what I mean? He's starting to start his career and his life in the NFL. So we can't just, you know what I mean, just cut the guy off like that cold turkey, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the thing about Zeke Elliott and even Greg Hardy is that their cases were thrown out, but everyone was under the assumption that those young ladies were paid off. This is a little different. Those 2 women didn't cooperate at all. Instead, what we have here with the Reuben Foster situation is that the young woman is actually there and testifying and providing evidence. So it's a little bit different than what happened with Zeke Elliott and even with Greg Hardy. This is, I don't expect Reuben Foster to be suspended at all for the domestic violence. Now, the weed and all that other stuff, that's a little different. Something like that is more likely to happen. So let me ask you guys this. I'm going to start with Alex. We'll go Alex, Dylan, Nick, and then Stefan. Just a quick yes or no. Were you guys hoping the 49ers drafted Reuben Foster's replacement round 1?
No. Do you want more? I really wanted something more on the defensive line, but I knew that there wasn't a lot to pick from right there. So I really kind of liked what they did with the offensive line because of what the Rams are doing with their defensive line. So I really was glad with what they did in the first pick.
All right. Dylan?
I said from the start, obviously I wanted Roquan, but I did not want him as Reuben Foster's replacement. I said that all the way from the start. I just wanted Roquan Smith, not as Reuben Foster's replacement.
Yeah, the two of them on the field together would have been scary, man. That would have been so scary. Nick, what about you, man? Were you hoping that we drafted Foster's replacement round 1?
No, and only for the reason that if they would have drafted a replacement there, we would have known that Reuben Foster was gone.
Okay. And Stefan?
No. I was really high on Harold Landry from the beginning. I wanted us to get that pass rusher that we desperately need for a few years now. And the Titans got a good deal with him in the second round. But no, I didn't want Roquan Smith or Tremaine Edmonds or someone like that for us in the first round.
Yeah, so to piggyback on what Nick was saying, if they did draft Reuben Foster's replacement in the first round, then they should have just cut him because that means they thought he was guilty. So I kind of my gut told me we're not going to do that because if they were, they would have cut him already. So it kind of goes hand in hand. We have another guest that just jumped in here, Alex. You can take yourself off of. Jonathan. I'm sorry. You can take yourself off of mute. How you doing, man? Tell everybody who you are. Let them know your Twitter handle and what's going on. Let's talk some Niners, man.
Oh no, what's good? What's good? I'm not. You may not recognize me. I'm not rocking the NASA uniform, man.
Yeah, I don't see the badge today. Okay.
I'll be in there tonight. Nah, I actually don't have no Twitter, nothing like that. I'm just, I just rock with YouTube and stuff, and obviously go on ESPN to get my Niner news and whatnot. But no, all is good, man. Just excited for the year to go to table back or to piggyback to what you guys were saying. I didn't want a linebacker either. I was hoping. I wanted Minka, to be honest with you. Fitzpatrick, I liked him. I like his swag. I like his game. I know we got Richard Sherman, but I just wanted the defensive back. Even in our good years, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we went to Super Bowl back-to-back NFC title games, our defensive back wasn't the greatest. It was a pass rush. Obviously our offense, Colin and whatnot, but our DB wasn't all that. So I'm like, man, I just want our DB to be good, but we're strengthening that up. So I'm pretty excited, but all is good, guys.
Yeah, so we did some work there, and you're absolutely right. The years that we were dominant on defense, it was because of what was going on the front. That front seven that we had with Willis, Bowman, and Justin, Allen, and freaking Ray McDonald. I mean,
yeah,
they were monsters up there, and they were wreaking havoc all over the place. Quarterbacks had no time to do anything. So that's what was going on. So let's go ahead and dig into this draft a little bit. I'm reading some of the comments and everything here. I see we got people coming in. Daniel said that Jonathan, you're making them dizzy from walking around so much.
My bad. I'm cleaning and whatnot. My bad.
It's all good. They yelled at me about that before too. I was pretty heated. I don't remember where I was. I know I was outside somewhere. I don't remember the broadcast, but Nick and I were doing something, maybe breaking news, and I was going off outside, and people were yelling at me about that too.
I remember.
You were at your family's barbecue.
Oh, was that where it was?
Yeah, that's where it was.
I was at a tire place one time for work, and I was like cursing, and I scared a guy walking in to get tire. It's happened more than once, so it happens to the best of us, man. I do want to talk about the draft. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to break this up. We're going to try to go backwards here. So let's go from Stefan to Nick to Jonathan to Alex. I don't know if Dylan will be back yet. And I want you guys to give me a letter grade for the draft and then give your reasoning behind that. So we'll start with Stefan.
Yeah, I've said it on Twitter already. Not in a conversation with you guys, but I think it's a solid B-. I was a little bit disappointed in the Mike McGlinchey pick, but after watching more tape, I see why they did it. I think the first three picks, McGlinchey, Fred Warner, and Dante Pettis, they are really what they envisioned. And I think they can be immediate contributors as well. So I like our first 3 picks, but the rest was a little bit of a projection. We drafted a lot of guys with injury history, which I kind of didn't like. We've got that bad experience with Trent Barkley. But I liked that they focused on the defensive back group, because last year that was basically our biggest need, our biggest holes. We had Dante Johnson getting burned and replaced at halftime in the Texans game, and that was our starting corner. I like that they focused really on that position and got some talent there, maybe some projects, but I like that they addressed that. And then again, I didn't like that they completely ignored the pass rush. It was, I thought in the first round, well, they got to take Harold Landry here. Then in the second round, I thought Harold Landry is still here. They got to move up and get ahead of the Colts or whatever and get Harold Landry there. And they didn't. And even later, they ignored him round after round. And that was a little bit disappointing, because that edge rusher is really what we still need and needed last season and the season before. And it's still a need on the roster. So there was a lot of good. There was a lot of bad. So I give it a solid B-.
B-. Now, before we start getting killed in the comments, I'm going to say this now so we don't have to all say this over, okay? This is an initial reaction grade. This does not mean that we think these guys are going to fail. It does not mean that we think these guys are going to be Hall of Famers or anything in between. This is looking at what we would have liked the team to do, and then looking at what they did and trying to justify it and then giving it a grade. So let's not sit here and be like, oh, you got to give it 3 years or 5 years to see what the – yeah, we know. But we're still going to sit here and give these grades out right now, because that's the reaction. So, Nick, break it down for us, man. So we got a B-, a solid B-. I don't even know what a solid B- is. Is that like an 82, like a firm 82%? Like what a solid B-? But all right. So Nick, you're up, man. Give me a weak B-. Let's see. Give it 80.5%. No, I don't know.
All right. So I told you this the other day. I give it probably a low B, higher C. Only for the fact, and I know Stefan's big on Harold Landry. I am so freaking happy we did not draft this guy, because he is going to fluke in the NFL. I'm telling you, I'm guaranteeing it right now. He will be a fluke in the NFL. And you'll be looking back and saying, damn, I'm glad we didn't take him. Look, man, at first, was I pissed off that we went offensive line? Yes, obviously. But you also have a quarterback that you need to protect his backside. You need a lineman to be able to get to the second tier and move. Trent Brown was not doing that. Trent Brown is an awesome, awesome pass blocker, but cannot do anything in run. He is not a mauler. He's not going to block off you, get to the second level, and get to a linebacker or get to a safety playing in the box. Carlos Hyde missed out on a lot of big runs because our offensive lineman couldn't do that last year. So Mike McGlinchey, when you watch tape on this guy, you think, damn, we drafted an offensive lineman at number 9 overall. But one, he's a great pass blocker. He could work on his pass blocking a little. I'm not saying it's the best. Obviously, any player can get better. But where we're really going to see this benefit is for Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon getting out into those quick passes, the linemen getting out into those second tiers, as well as the run game. So the first 3 picks I loved. I definitely loved the first 3 picks. I like the Warner pick. I like the Dante Pettis pick, because I don't want Trent Taylor back there. As much as I have a draft crush on him, and I loved him to death coming out, I don't want him back there. He does muff a lot of punts. He does, he doesn't get that right acceleration. But I'd rather see him in the slot. I think he's better for us for a third down back. Don't want to risk injury. Dante Pettis held the NCAA league with punt returns. I think he had 9. But the thing that I love about the receiver that we drafted in Dante Pettis is they're very quick. I mean, this offense is going to be quick. I think like the slowest person's like 4'8", other than linemen. 4'8", 4'6". It's going to be a lot of speed. The ACLs and stuff like that, I was kind of upset with it. But then when I really sat back and looked at it, I'm thinking they seen the potential in this guy. I don't take it as much as a Trent Baalke pick because I think it's kind of different. I know it was a 4th, 5th round. Was it 5th round, right? We took him, or was it the 4th round? The defensive lineman with the ACL, the first one.
Yeah, the defensive lineman that we took, Contavious Street, was a 4th round.
Contavious Street, yeah, in the 4th?
Yeah, 4th round pick.
Yeah. So the only thing that I give it that low of a grade is because I trust what Kyle Shanahan sees. He is seeing what he needs to build his offense. I trust what John Lynch sees because look at Adrian Colbert. Look at these 7th round picks that we pulled out of our hats and how they're playing. And if you haven't checked that interview, guys, out, make sure you guys check it out because Mike and Zach had Adrian on the other day. Awesome interview. Great job by you two as well. But I trust this process. And when we didn't draft the pass rush, I'm sitting there thinking, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? But this just tells me that they're really sold on a Cassius Marsh, an Eric Armstead. They are not going to move from Cassius Marsh. Cassius Marsh got a extension. He's really, like John Lynch even said it in some of his pressers throughout the offseason, that when you see a guy playing as well as he is and you want him on the field as much as possible, you pay him. And that's what they did. So I got to trust the process here, man. So I'm going to give it a low B, a little bit of a higher C maybe.
I cannot wait to be the bad guy on this topic, but I'm going to pass it off to Jonathan. We're going to keep going in order. Jonathan, then Dylan, and then Alex, if Alex has time. I know he said he was on his way out. Alex, are you pressed for time right now? You good for another 5 minutes or so?
Yeah, I got it. If you want me to go first, I could go first, and then, you know what I mean? It's up to you.
Well, I just don't want you to have to get out before we get your opinion. So if you guys don't mind, let's let Alex go just in case he's got a dip, and then we'll go back to Jonathan.
Yeah, one thing that I'm not big on draft grades because, like, a lot of times people, especially you see a lot of the mock draft people, they want to give grades on players and stuff, and these players just, like, you know, make them look stupid, you know what I mean? So that's one thing that I'm kind of look at it like that. But me, I'm going to give the team an A on the draft, and this is why. Because I, of course, wanted something on a pass rush. I wanted something on a pass rush, a defensive end, and I liked Harold Landry. But as I started going in the draft process and you started hearing a lot about him, a lot of people are knocking him. A lot of people are saying that he shouldn't have went in the first round, and that's probably why he lasted as long as he did. Another thing is that when you look at the next year's draft, you see a lot of players coming out that are really good on the defensive line. Bosa's coming out. Joey Bosa's little brother's coming out, and he's going to be a top prospect. And there's a lot of people on the line. So I believe that might be one of the reasons they didn't attack the pass rush and stuff like a lot of us wanted to, because there wasn't a lot in this draft. And then there was a lot of people that wanted a wide receiver, but from what my experience was watching at the end after Jimmy came into the helm was that all these players were really good. I seen Kendrick Bourne making catches that were so dope, and Marquise Goodwin and even Trent Taylor. So I wasn't really tripping on them getting a big name wide receiver or somebody really big, you know what I mean? But then with Street, like you guys were talking about, Street was a day 3 pick, and before with Trent Baalke used to take those risks like on the 2nd round and stuff like that. So that was a little different on that. And as well as last year, there was a lot of holes that needed to be filled. And so a lot of the draft picks were on making sure that we weren't going to be having big old holes on our defense. And so I believe this year was Kyle Shanahan going and picking and choosing the toys that he wanted exactly. Because I believe Dante Pettis was the 2nd round wide receiver pick, correct? They're talking about him being able to be put all around the field. And if you look at his size, everybody's like, you can't play a player like that all over the field. Somebody like that should be only in the slot. But the way Kyle Shanahan works his offense and the way that they'll be able to use him, I believe that every pick that we got this year is going to be valuable and an asset.
My man said an A, guys. That is some positivity for that ass. I like it, man. So this is why I love getting different people's opinions, because there's reasons for everything. I want to go ahead and toss it over to Jonathan now. Break it down, man. Give us a grade, and then you can justify why you give it that way.
Yeah. No, what Stefan and Nick was saying was they hit it on the nail. Me initially was like C+, only because, like I said, just they hit it in the later rounds, getting the safeties, especially with the undrafted rookies. If you just look at the position, okay, they got the position. Who are these people? So that was my initial thought. Like, I don't know who these guys are, but it looks like they attacked it. But again, with not getting what I wanted in the first couple, I was a little frustrated. But like I said, Nick's hit it on. What's his face? Shanahan. They know what they're doing. They're gonna draft needs. They got what they needed in the offseason, so they kind of plug in here and there. So I'm just uber excited just to see how these guys are gonna do, because the guy that I'm most excited about from what I'm reading is the guy from Temple. What is it? Tillman, the defensive lineman, the defensive tackle from Temple. Reading up on him. What's that?
Julian Taylor.
Got it. My fault. But that guy, he could be like one of those dark horses. He's my dark horse. So just to answer your question initially, yeah, C+. But I feel like this can put these people. It could progress to something special, just like Trent Taylor or Kittle. You know what I'm saying? How they did this year. So it's a wait and see. But I trust the process, just like you guys are saying, man. I trust the process, and I'm super excited to see what these guys can do.
All right, so we got 2 C+. What Nick had was C+, B-. We got an A, and we got another B-. So the team is looking pretty good right now. Dylan, I'm gonna need you to come in here and bring some logic to all of this. Let's go, my man. Bring the hammer down.
I ain't bringing no logic in your way. I'm going B. I love the draft, actually. And I'll tell you each one of them that I love. Mike McGlinchey was perfect. I hated it at first, but that was probably because I was still upset about no Roquan. But once they traded Trent, it was perfect. They got something that they could use for that player, and they don't have to pay Trent Brown now. They got the cheap rookie now. That's awesome. I love that. Okay, next, Dante Pettis was one of my favorite wide receivers in the draft. Also, I know people have been talking a lot about his punt returning and making it a huge deal. I also want to point out that Jerick McKinnon returned punts in Minnesota for a little while too. So nobody's been talking about the fact that he can return punts too. I'm just saying. And he was pretty good at it. After that, and Dante Pettis, getting Pierre Garçon's replacement after a couple years in the second round is a beautiful pick in my opinion. I have no fault with that pick. I love it. Fred Warner, I mean, if you need to know more about Fred Warner, go find Zach on Twitter, because that man really liked Fred Warner and he got his pick. And from everything I've heard, I haven't personally watched all the Fred Warner tape, but that's going to be one great player too, a great coverage linebacker. Awesome pick. Tarvarius Moore, I like him too. I mean, they obviously saw the talent for him. And I know you don't like the Kentavious Street pick. I know it reminds you of the Trent Baalke era. I know. But I actually like the kid a lot. Okay? I really do. I hate that his ACL is torn, and I hate that we won't see him play. But he wasn't a bad pick. And while we're on this topic of edge rushers and everything, I would like to point out that I feel like a lot of 49ers fans, and this is gonna get way overhyped, we put way too much importance on pressure from the edge. It doesn't always have to be from the edge. DeForest Buckner is going to put pressure up the middle, and as long as Richard Sherman continues to be Richard Sherman, and Ahkello Witherspoon plays well too, if you put the pressure on the quarterback and you have two good corners back there, that's going to be enough pressure. I promise you. And with Cassius Marsh, the amount of pressure that he was putting in, and there's still possibilities of bringing back Elvis Dumerville, that's enough pressure. I'm telling you, it's enough pressure. From the rest on, I haven't looked at DJ Reed. I haven't looked at Marcel Harris. I know Julian Taylor's a good prospect. I have watched some Richie James, and I liked him too. and we did well with the undrafted free agents. I love the draft. I think a solid B. I think it's great. I think it wasn't what people wanted, and it wasn't what people expected, but I think it's all right. We're preparing for the future. Because also with the defensive back, I think what John Lynch aimed to do is there was two things that plagued us injury-wise so terribly. Our offensive tackle and our defensive back. There was games whenever we were putting out people that you never even heard of. They were grabbing people from the stands to go out and play defensive back. They were grabbing people from the local community college to go play right tackle. I mean, we didn't have anybody. They've got plenty of depth in that secondary now. So I love the picks.
Time for me to be the bearer of bad news and bring everybody back to reality since none of you guys wanted to do it. All right, so listen. Heading into this draft, I think our three biggest needs were offensive guard, pass rush, and secondary, right? Corner, DB. Let's just say DB. Now, the team had 9 draft picks that they used, and 3 of them were used in the secondary. Cool. I get that. We're going to address that, right? Like, this is what we need. Let's get after it. I like that. That's good. Bravo. The next thing is pass rush. We didn't address it. Now, not in the draft, so to speak, but maybe they really like Jeremiah Tauchu. Who knows? Cassius Marsh might be their guy. Maybe not. I mean, the contract says, we'll give you another shot. It doesn't say you are the guy. But whatever the case is, all right, fine. But they didn't address it here. Maybe because they didn't see value in any of the guys here. And this was not a good pass rush. I think that's what Jonathan was saying. This wasn't a good pass rush draft class. So that's fine. Offensive guard. We didn't address it at all. So maybe they have a lot of faith in Joshua Garnett coming back. So that's that. If you ask me, the 3 biggest needs, we only addressed one of them 3 times out of 9. We spent a third of our draft on one group. That's not good, in my opinion. Okay, now, the first pick overall was Mike McGlinchey. And everyone says, oh, that's good because they took care of a need because they traded Trent Brown. Just because you create a need after you pick doesn't mean that it was a good move. If we drafted one of those quarterbacks at number 9 overall, freaking what the hell's the guy's name that went to the Baltimore Ravens, pick 32? What's it, Jackson? Yeah. If we drafted Jackson at 9, everyone would have been like, what the hell? What the hell? And then we trade Jimmy Garoppolo for 7 picks. You're not going to be like, oh, well, it was good because there was a need there. Okay, yeah, I went that extreme because I want to get a reaction out of you guys. Just because you create a need the following day doesn't mean that it was a good move. Now, if you ask me, I think Trent Brown deserved a little bit of a break. He had an injury. He's never let the team down as far as physical performance on the field. So people are going to say, oh, no, we need to move on from him. He didn't fit the scheme. He didn't fit the scheme. He didn't fit Chip Kelly's scheme. He didn't fit Jim Tom Sula's scheme. And his ass always is starting right tackle. So you can say he didn't fit all he want, but he fit. And he was pretty damn good at pass pro also. That's all I'm going to say. Now, McGlinchey's going to come in. He's going to improve on the run game. I hear that. But we're going to take a step back with pass protection. We're going to take a big step forward in the run game. Cool. I was mad about the McGlinchey pick in the beginning. But overall, I'm not too upset about it. I actually like the pick. I like Mike McGlinchey. I just didn't like him at 9 for us. All right. Now, in hindsight, the McGlinchey pick actually gained some points for me because after we made the pick, the Raiders immediately traded backwards. They traded back out of panic because they wanted Mike McGlinchey. In fact, their next pick was an offensive tackle, and he wasn't projected until like the 2nd round. So the Raiders were in straight panic mode. So if the Niners knew that, if they had a feeling that that's what they were going for, the Raiders were going for, they did the right thing by standing pat and not trading back to get McGlinchey. So that, again, I put a lot of thought into this. It came out being a good pick after all, as far as value and knowing that he wasn't going to be there. If that was your guy, you get him. So cool. The second pick was Dante Pettis. I got no problems with that. When it comes to wide receivers, I am not going to question Shanahan. Because if you had told me that in love with a short Trent Taylor and a guy who plays with fronts in his mouth in Kendrick Bourne at the beginning of last season, I'd have told you were full of it. But I'll be damned if those aren't our favorite wide receivers on the team. You know what I mean? Goodwin, who was a freaking failure over in Buffalo is now a star, almost 1,000-yard receiver had he not got injured in that game. You got Pierre Garçon. Like, if you had told me that this running wide receiver group was going to be this good or this solid, I would have said you were full of it and that you believe too much in the Kyle Shanahan. I'm there. I'm brought in to Kyle Shanahan. So I'm not going to ever question him on wide receivers or tight ends, okay? But let's just take a step back and look at the draft overall. It wasn't good, guys. I'm going to give this grade a D, and here are my reasons. Marcel Harris tore his ACLs. Okay? You can't draft guys who are hampered, right? This happened in July of last year. You got Richie James, who broke both of his collarbones. He only played in 5 games last year. We're drafting these guys. He was going to be undrafted. He broke both. Not one. He's got them both snapped. Let's get him. Come on, bring him in. We can use him. Sure, because we need another wide receiver, right? Then there's Julian Taylor. He tore his ACL also. Okay? Then there's Kentavious Street, who also tore his ACL. He did his practicing for the Giants. So you're telling me that we picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys with serious injuries out of 9, and you guys are good draft. Because I trust them. I trust them. Good draft. No, man.
Mike, let me ask you a question though, because you're basing this all off of previous injuries, right? And if I can recall, you're the one who says ACLs don't mean shit anymore the way the guys heal anymore. This is what you were talking about with Allen Robinson. Go get him. He's talented. Go fucking get him. Who cares about any type of injury he's had? Pay the guy. Give him what he wants. Every draft pick can be a fluke. Every single one of them.
Right.
But if you see talent that you think you can get for future years for your team, you get them.
I hear you. And I agree with you with everything I said about the ACL. Here's the difference. We've seen Allen Robinson on the pro level be elite. Most draft picks are a coin flip. They're either going to make it or they're not anyway. Now you add to that the injuries, serious injuries. I can't sit there and say that the same coin flip is Allen Robinson. There's not even the same page. We haven't seen him touch the NFL field. We have no idea what these guys are capable of. 5 serious injuries. That's what we did with the 9 picks. 5 of them.
It's still the same, though, overall. It's still assumption. It's assuming that they're not going to do good. It's assuming that they're going to do good. Whether they touch an NFL field or not, it's still the same injury. It's still the type of what you have to do to get back on the field, which I pray for those guys because the shit that they probably have to do to get back on the field in great playing time is probably a ton. But it's the same injury. It doesn't take away from the player and their ability or their – I don't want to say ability because it can take away from ability. But it doesn't take away from what the player really is unless it really takes away from their ability. Allen Robinson, we don't know what Allen Robinson is going to be like this year. But just because he did it last year, you're going to pay him. Well, these guys have been doing the same shit in college every year. It's the same as people saying, well, Harold Landry, he was the best in college. It's – you know, I could go down a ton of first-round picks, Joshua Garnett. We could go a ton of people that weren't injured that we didn't take a chance on. I mean, you can look at the linebacker that came out last year, not last year, the year before. But he had an ACL injury. I think he plays for San Diego now. I forget his name. I forget who he is. But everybody wanted him. He didn't have as good of a season as everybody thought he was going to. He hasn't had a good NFL year. Guys like Adrian Colbert. Who the fuck expected Adrian Colbert to ball out playing in the 7th round? Like, the draft is just throw shit in a hat and just go off of what tape you see and hope and pray that you get the right player. I mean, more of our draft picks don't work out than they do in any NFL team. But my only argument to you is, oh, by the way, I won that DB debate, just so you know. I did win that DB debate. I got to throw that out there. Because we didn't take a DB till after the 3rd round. So, but it's just any draft. I mean, it's just crazy to give it a D, like, because we don't know any of this. last year's draft could have been a D, but we were super stoked because we had to replace 25 players on the team. And so we were happy with it. This year's the same thing. They drafted the same exact way. They went after pieces that they wanted, in which we didn't believe in last year. We didn't believe in the Trent Taylors. We didn't believe in the Adrian Colberts. We didn't, believe in those type of players because we didn't know what to expect. It's the same this year. We really can't start grading this until we actually see – all of us could be wrong. It could go from a D to an A. I think Mike froze. It could go from an A to a D. Like, it just really doesn't matter. I mean, but I can't give it that low of a grade. I don't know. I mean, obviously, you guys all agree with me. We lost Mike, so I don't know if I pissed him off or if he froze.
If I may jump in, though, I want to tell this, Mike, as well, but if you go out of a draft with 3 starters or 4 starters, it was a good draft. And I believe our first 3 picks are going to be starters eventually. Fred Warner, maybe not in the first year, maybe in the second or third, but he'll make his way onto the field. And McGlinchey, no-brainer, Pettis as well. There are going to be starters on from this draft on this team, and if you have 3 or 4 guys, maybe one of the later round picks overcomes the ACL injuries and develops into a good player, then this was a good draft. So I wouldn't give it a D as well.
Right. Mike, are you back now? We can't see you, so. Oh, there he comes. But I agree with you, Stefan. If you get, let's say you have 7 draft picks and you get 2 to 3 of them that are going to start and become something, that's a successful draft. I mean, that's really how you grade drafts. Successful as in how many starters do you get out of that? Hey, we got double mics in here. Oh, shit. Double trouble right now. Oh, shit.
I'm in here twice, bro.
Yes, you're definitely in here twice. So, and it's funny because when I said something about, you guys can mark me on this, and I said before, I was like, Akello's a bust. Remember that. I've said that. I definitely said that. And the response everyone gave me was, you need to give draft picks a year or 2 to finally grade them.
Wait.
Did or did not anybody say that to me?
We were killing Akello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay, all right. No, we were killing Akello, and because of how he looked in preseason and things like that. But even Hafley has come out and said, the DB's coach has come out and said, I have not seen a young man make the leaps and bounds that he made in such a short period of time ever in my career. So we weren't off in our assessment. He just turned it around and he picked up really quick.
Right.
But now, do you guys mind if I get back to my grading and stuff and what was going on?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just needed to get that out because I just think, like, when you were going, Stefan was saying the way he grades and really truly grades a draft is if you have 7 draft picks or let's say 9 draft picks like we did, if we get 3 starters out of that, it's a successful draft. And that's about average.
Right, but that doesn't mean that we have to agree with everything. And that's my point is when more than half of your picks had serious injuries and 3 of them were all in one position group, you didn't address 2 of your biggest needs in that draft. I just don't, just that in general, because we don't know what these players are going to be. We said that from the beginning. We are not talking about the players in particular. I mean, yeah, we are, but what we're more concerned about is what we did for this team. And I feel like this draft was done as if this team had a loaded 53-man roster and we were just trying to stash guys for the future. And in my opinion, and I think most of you would agree with me, this team isn't a Super Bowl caliber team now. We needed to get guys who were going to come in and make an immediate impact to help us get over the hump. Can we make a playoff push this year? Anything can happen. Absolutely. I think this team is going to be one of the favorites coming out of the NFC West. However, I don't think anybody has the 49ers as a Super Bowl caliber team this year, except like really, really passionate and adamant 49er fans. And so with that being said, we needed some pieces to get over the hump this year. And that is by putting pressure on your quarterback. Now, Are they going to say, oh, well, we got Armstead and we got Buckner and we got this guy and that? Maybe that might be their plan. But if you're looking at the draft and what they did to do that, they didn't do it. They didn't do anything to get us over the hump. I think the camera's locked on you there, Nick, just so you know. But they didn't do anything to get us over the hump. And that was what my biggest concern was with this draft. That's why I'm giving them a D. Another reason is because, excuse me, in addition to the injuries and all that stuff, the 49ers came up with their own grading scale this season. And I heard John Lynch talking about it. You know how people have an assessment and this guy, they give them grades and that's how they determine how worthy this person is of being picked up and so on and so forth. The 49ers came up with their own, and I honestly think they did it based off of last year's results. All right. So we had guys like Matt Breida who physically tested out higher than any other running back last year. Right. But he wasn't invited to the combine. So that was all based off of what he did as pro day. And I think if you look at a lot of the guys that the Niners picked up, they were physical freaks. A lot of them, like they were just guys who athletically were, you know, head and shoulders above the rest of the competition. They might not have shown it on camera, but they showed it with the physical measurements and things like that, the combine testing and all. And I think that's what the whole 49er scheme was. They just went after that. P-Spark, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but it's a grading system that includes all of your 3-cone and your high jump, your long jump, your 40 time. It includes all these physical measurements, and it gives you a grade on it. It has nothing to do with how you played on the field at all. And I think that's a huge part of what the 49ers were doing. That if you look at a lot of these draft picks, that's what they were. They were guys who were in the top tier of those things. And so that's the issue that I mainly had with all of that. And if that's the case, if that's what you're doing, you really, really trust your coaching staff, which is a good sign for them. But, you know, it's just I don't know. I can't sit here and say that this was a good draft. And I know what I know about the injuries and the new grading system and the needs that we did not address. That's all.
I know Stefan has to jump out of here real quick, but Stefan, do you have anything else to say before you jump out?
No, it's basically been said all because this is now going to be the quiet period of the NFL season. I'm kind of glad that we get a little bit of a break now. But it's going to be a fun season. I'm excited about where the team is headed. Kyle Shanahan did an awesome job in the first year, especially psychologically with the players. And yeah, maybe we can finally get back to winning seasons with the 49ers. And I sure will be rooting for this.
Yeah, well said. Well said. So, Stefan, I know it's late for you there, but I know you got shit to do. So, thanks for joining us once again.
Anytime.
Always. And I'll be talking to you soon.
Be safe, my man. And don't forget, you too can save 15% or more on your car insurance.
Hey, Mike, real quick. The injuries you're just talking about, two out of the 5 are for sure not going to be able to play this year, right? There's 2 that had the ACL injuries, and then the couple that are just kind of were hurt before, but they should be good to go come training camp and whatnot.
That's correct. 2 of them are not going to touch the field at all this year for the 49ers.
Right, because the dude from Temple should be good to go.
The guy from Temple, that was not Street. That was Taylor, Julian Taylor. And Julian Taylor tore his ACL in college. Yeah. I mean, but that was 2 years ago. So he should be okay. He should be okay.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, because it was is it the dude from Florida? I'm not the one that I know the street guy is
Marcel
done, but
Harris. Marcel Harris from Florida. Yeah, and Marcel Harris, he tore his ACL last July. So he said he was clear to go. He said that in his presser also that he was clear to go and he should be able to play right away.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because the minicamp started now. I don't know if you guys read up on Pettis. They're hating on him. The only knock was I think that he looked scared when it was going through the middle to kind of catch the ball or something like that. Or
that's Grant Cohn.
Yeah, I was going to say that was Grant Cohn. You know what's weird is that I love those pieces by Grant Cohn. No matter how much I disagree with the shit he says, I love reading him because that man has convictions and agendas, and he sticks to them, man. And I absolutely love it. I love it, man.
You and Grant could be best friends, bro. You guys both like the debate.
I was gonna say no. We would argue all the time. Like
you would be arguing and debating all the time.
Let me go over the injuries really quick, just so people know the 5 I was talking about. So again, last year, Richie James broke one of his collarbones, so he only appeared in 5 games. If I'm not mistaken, he's 100% clear to go. He only played 5 games last year. Safety Marcel Harris, he tore his Achilles last July. The defensive tackle, Kentavious Street, he tore his ACL just a few weeks ago, working out for the Giants in the private workout, the pre-draft workout for the Giants. He tore his ACL. And defensive tackle Julian Taylor, he tore his ACL in college also. So those are the guys that we were talking about, but they should be all right to come back and play, except the 2 of them.
So, Mike, I know this is early, and I know we've talked about pre-early predictions. Would this draft change your mind on your prediction?
No, and the reason I say that is because when I make my predictions, I look at what the team has and what I know they're getting back. Like, so when I made my prediction, the draft is a crapshoot. I don't care how much research you do on anybody. There's no guarantee. So I'm looking at what we had coming back and an addition like Pierre Garçon. That offense just excites the shit out of me, knowing that Pierre is coming back with Jimmy Garoppolo. And now we have a more dynamic guy in McKinnon also. So what I saw in free agency was just enough to make my record prediction is going to stay where it was. Like I'm not changing any of that because of the draft. No ups or downs because of the draft.
Yo, there's not a lot of Pierre Garçon lovers out there, man, but I am actually one of them. And you guys know that. Like, I support the hell out of Garçon. I really think I agree with Dante, though, or with Dylan, that Dante Pettis is his replacement in, a year or two to play the outside. But
see, I got a question about that because when I see Pettis, I see quick, shifty guy. I don't see strong hands like I see with Kendrick Bourne. I would be more inclined to think Kendrick Bourne would be Garçon's replacement later. You know what I mean?
Hey, it's Tony Montana coming in here. Look at Tony Montana. Tony Montana, you're driving in the car. You're going to fly, Pelican fly. Got his shades on and shit. The draft guru is here. The 49ers, nothing but Niners draft guru. What's going on, Tony?
No, what's up, fellas? How we doing?
Not much, man. We're just talking about the draft. I know. Wait, before Tony jumps in, Dylan was about to chime in with the whole Pettis and Bourne and Garçon thing. What were you going to say?
I wrote a little bit about Pettis in one of the mock drafts that I did because I had us taking him, and I know. Thank you. I know. I know people. I know people have been giving him that rep of he's going to be a slot receiver and a punt returner. That's it. Dante Pettis does everything. I watched his tape. He does every single route. I did not see a problem with any of his routes, honestly. He has one of the most diverse route trees that I saw out of any receiver in this draft. And I loved his hands. I think he easily could be Pierre Garçon's backup and could be our wide receiver 1 in the near future.
Right, but I'm not – see, all right, maybe I'm not explaining it the right way. I'm not saying that he's not going to be wide receiver 1 in the future. It's more like the type of receiver that Garçon is reminds me of Bolden. So when people say the replacement, I'm talking about the physical, strong hands and, dragging guys a couple of yards after they get the ball. I don't see that part in Pettis. That's what I'm saying. Not that he can't be wide receiver 1, just saying I don't see that part.
Yeah. What I basically meant as Pierre Garçon's replacement is I meant wide receiver 1 replacement.
Okay.
That's what I meant by that. I'm not saying that he's going to be like our Pierre Garçon because we can find that kind of player somewhere else. That big, strong kind of guy. I just think he's the wide receiver 1. Okay.
I understand now. Now we're on the same page. Peace.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say. That when Garçon's gone, it's going to be Dante Pettis' position. I love Garcon, man. I think Garcon's going to put up crazy numbers this year with Jimmy Garoppolo. And not a lot of people think that. They're like, oh, we have to get this 6'8", 6'7" receiver for the red zone. I'm hoping.
Say my name, Nick. No. I said it. I said we needed a tall wide receiver for the red zone.
But Kittles could be that.
Who?
I said Kittles, tight end.
Yeah. Look, I said it before. I'm hoping Kittle turns into that red zone threat, man. He really can be. He has the body structure. He can go up and get a ball. He can block. He can catch. He can get off blocks. And we went to him a lot last year. If you look at our red zones last year, we went to the tight end a lot. We went to Selleck, we went to Kittle, and we did third downs on Taylor. We never really threw to the outside guy. Is that because we didn't have a 6'7", 6'8" guy? Probably. Do we really need them in this offense? Probably not. This offense is going to be quick as shit, man.
I was also one of the guys that was like, we need that tall guy. We need that red zone threat. I mean, my personal guy was Alan Lazard, but he's on the Jaguars now. I hate that. I love that guy. He wasn't anything that's going to be like your wide receiver one. He doesn't have that speed or route capabilities. But, man, if you just threw a fade to him in the end zone, his 6'8" gigantic self was going to come down with that ball. Yeah, he was getting that ball. Yeah, I love that. But, you know, I saw this trend going around on Twitter like a week ago or something where people were like, why do people think we need the red zone threat? Jimmy G's our red zone threat. You're wrong. He wasn't last year for all the games that he was in. We did not score enough in the red zone. That's my biggest problem with that offense. We did not score enough in the red zone. I think Pierre Garçon is going to help that tremendously, in my opinion. And I think George Kittle in his second year is also going to help that a ton. But just assuming that because we have Jimmy Garoppolo that we're going to score all these touchdowns, not fair to do because he hasn't proven that yet.
I agree with you. I want to get our resident GM's opinion on the draft. So, Tony, what we did was we know it's too early to give a grade overall on this draft. We know that you need 3 or 4 years or 5 years to evaluate the talent that the team picked up, especially with us picking up 5 guys that had injuries and 2 of them aren't going to touch the field this year. But we want to get a letter grade from you on how you think this team handled this draft this year. Like for this team, give us a letter grade and then tell us why.
I like what they did. There was a couple, 1 or 2 picks when they first announced. I was kind of like, what the hell are they thinking? But going back and looking at it, I understand the logic behind it now. I give it a B. But basically, Mike, and all the fellows in here, I just wanted to touch on something with the depth of last year's team. And if you look at all the additions that they picked up through the draft, it's all positions that last year we had to go out and scramble and sign street free agents, guys that were off practice squads, just to fill roster spots to play these roles. Corner, safety, defensive line. We had Douzable, who's nowhere to be found right now. We pulled Leon Hall out of basically retirement. We added Mabin last year to play corner, even though he's still on the roster. And there's someone that they, keeping an eye on him for potentially to compete for a roster spot. But if you look at our draft, we got Moore, the defensive back from Southern Miss. We picked up DJ Reed, who's going to compete with K'Wan Williams, and Marcel Harris, who's a thumper. All right, granted, he's coming off a Achilles injury. Marcel Harris is. Moore is healthy, but he's doing a position change. Basically, what I like about this draft, Lynch and Shanahan went out and addressed depth issues on this roster as far as the secondary. As far as the first round pick, McGlinchey, we were on the video during the draft when I was in Mexico, and I was kind of like, what the hell? Pass rusher, linebacker, da-da-da-da. But if you think about it, it makes sense. They didn't want Trent Brown on this team, period. I think we all could agree with that. Am I right?
Yeah.
All right. So what they did was they drafted McGlinchey. He's cheaper. Now they don't have to fork out big money to a player who could turn into be an Anthony Davis once you give him a big contract and he loses his interest in the team, interest in football. Even though I agree he's a phenomenal pass blocker, but Kyle's system is an outside zone system where you need to be a good run blocker and to get out to the second level for the outside zone. So, in my opinion, that pick right there, even though, like, you know, the majority of the people don't feel it's a huge upgrade, I think it is an upgrade for his system. All these guys that were drafted were all system fits. They're not guys, you know, they're not reaching for guys. They're not saying, oh, we need this, we need a pass rusher, so we got to force the hand on the pass rusher. When they took Street, Josh Sweat was on the board. Now, you know what happened to a previous Florida State defensive end that was coming off an ACL injury. Granted, Sweat is more severe of an injury, but maybe they just did not feel comfortable with that medical. I mean, I was reading spots where he couldn't even make it through a full week of practice. So why would you want to put yourself in that position to take him just to say you filled a need? My personal opinion, I would not be surprised if you see Adam Peters reach out to Denver and try to get one of those defensive ends, either a Ray or Barrett. Who they're going to trade, a pick, maybe Armstead, maybe Jimmy Ward, you don't know. But don't take a pass rusher just to say we need a pass rusher. If you're not 100% satisfied with his, whether it's an off-the-field issue, his medical, his game tape, or whatever. I think they were very smart. They addressed their issues, and that's just my opinion on it. If you want, I can go through a pick-by-pick, tell you how I think they're going to feel, how they're going to fit. But, I mean, it's up to you guys.
No, that's cool. Go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, what were you giving it as an overall grade, like an A through an F?
B.
B?
I want to throw in there, I was completely on board. I think me and Tony said it at the same time in the group message with the Shane Ray thing. I love that. I love that idea. Linebacker is something that I still believe that we need a little bit more depth at. And I've been saying that since before Fred Warner. I've been saying that for a while. I just thought that we needed a little bit more depth there. And whether Shane Ray comes in and whether he comes in or not, I mean, I just think he would be a great addition to that linebacker core.
There's a lot of guys with this draft, fellas, that, you know, this is their time. This is their last shot. It's put up or shut up, and that's it. You can tell by what the positions they drafted. As far as Pettis, again, when he was drafted, we all looked at each other on the video like, what? We traded up for Pettis? But doing some investigation, I heard the Packers might have been interested with him at the next pick. They jumped in front of, I think, Green Bay to take Pettis. I mean, I'm not 100% confirmed on that. I don't, but I read it somewhere that they had interest in Pettis. Had him for a visit, whatever. But Pettis, in my opinion, is setting the foundation for the future of our wide receiver corps. I think Dylan said it, Mike said it, Nick said it. I think Pettis is going to shock a lot of people. Everyone's focused on his punt return. This guy offers more than a punt return. Kyle Shanahan's big like prerequisite is you got to be able to get open. You need good hands. Just because he doesn't run a 4.2, 2.8, 4.3 flat 40, he knows how to get open. Just because he's not 6'3", 220, he could get himself open. He's got excellent route running skills. His hands are good. Now, I'm not saying Garcon is done with this team, I think he's going to have a phenomenal year this year. But 2019, maybe 2020, this team probably has an option to walk away from Garcon with no penalty, just like they have an option next year to walk away from Malcolm Smith with no penalty.
I want to interrupt you real quick. On that whole Pettis coming in thing and how we traded up for him, I also want to hit on something Mike said earlier that I wanted to get to, but I just didn't get in there for it. Mike was talking about how we created the need for our right tackle.
Did you just air quote me?
I did, because when we created the need for this right tackle. But correct me if I'm wrong, our trade of Trent Brown helped us to move up to get Dante Pettis, the wide receiver that obviously we wanted, and we were able to jump in front of the team that wanted him as well. So I feel like it wasn't the fact of, oh, we drafted this player, we need to make a spot for him now. It was like, we have a player, and by the way, also, Trent Brown was never going to be a successful or a truly successful left tackle. He was not an heir to Joe Staley. They have now drafted a right tackle that can be the heir to Joe Staley, and he's cheaper. So
we still have a need a tackle.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
2 years down the road, we'll still need a tackle.
Take one then. It's fine.
Guys, I think 2 years down the road, you're going to see McGlinchey go to the left side. And if this Darrell Williams Jr. keeps progressing, he might take the right side.
2 years down the road, McGlinchey will be holding up the Lombardi, so it's fine.
And I think I want to summarize the whole draft grade thing. I think every single one of us in here would give this draft an A if we keep one thing in mind. Jimmy Garoppolo was had for a second-round pick this draft class.
I was just gonna say that we gotta add Jimmy Garoppolo in there to the second-round pick because he was part of this draft.
Right.
Correct.
You add Jimmy Garoppolo in there, and I think every one of us gives this draft class an A.
Correct.
I don't know, Mike. You probably would have went from a D to a C.
Nah, Jimmy's nice, bro. I'm not. Jimmy's that fucking nice, man. Because
I just want to jump in real quick. As always, this is dope. I got to start getting ready for work, but man, just as always, man, good stuff.
All right, man, Jonathan. Take care, man. Be safe, all right?
All right, yeah, I'll take care.
See you, Jonathan. Thanks, buddy.
Take care.
What were you going to say?
I just want to – I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You.
I was listening about 15 minutes before I jumped on to the show on my phone, and you said the needs were what? Guard, edge, and corner, right?
Yeah, I had pass rush. I'm not really worried about edge, but pass rush, corners, and offensive guard, yeah.
All right, so remember in the beginning of free agency, I told you, Mike, they're smart. They went out and signed a guard. They're getting a guard back from injury. They went out and added Atachu, even though he's not a big-name edge rusher, and they added Sherman. So basically, by doing that, by adding those three pieces in free agency, it took the pressure off them to have to really jump and reach for somebody. So now they're playing with all their positions, they addressed it and somehow they added somebody to the competition, and now they were able to maneuver a little bit and take players that they feel that is the future of this franchise.
Bro,
so Cooper, my opinion, just because they did not draft,
Cooper's not making his roster. He don't count as an acquisition.
You don't think so?
Hell no. Hell no. Cooper's not going to make this roster. Just because we picked up a Cowboys lineman, it's not one of those linemen. He only played. He was the third guy on the chart, and the Cowboys fans hated him. He's not good. We could pick up Devy or Pears. He's
not. Get out of here with that shit.
Okay. All right.
Get out of here with that Devy and Pears shit.
All right. We'll see.
You are no longer allowed to do any more shows until you get Devy and Pears out of your head.
Cooper equals the same thing, bro.
Mike, he's better than Devy. I'm sorry.
Look, just because your family's a Cowboys fan and they're talking shit on Cooper, it's okay.
Bro, nobody likes him. Nobody.
Yo, I'm not going to sit here and take the slander from a guy that grew up in my hometown, okay?
All right. We got an all-pro guard. All right, my bad. My apologies. But to Tony's point, right? So yeah, we picked him up. We picked up Cooper. Let's just say he does shake out and he can be there even as backup, right? So Cooper, fine, right? But then you talk about Garnett coming back, and then you talk about Richard Sherman. Both of those guys again are coming off of injuries, and so are 5 of the guys in this draft. We have put way too much stock into injured guys. I'm the only one that sees a problem with this. It's just so they can do no wrong.
Street is the only guy that's going to be redshirted this year.
No, there's another guy also, isn't it? I thought there was 2 of the 5. There's 5 guys that were injured.
You're talking about the Harris?
Let me see. Marcel Harris, he tore He tore his Achilles in July. Kentavious Street tore his ACL working out for the Giants. Julian Taylor tore his ACL. That was last year. And Richie James broke his collarbone at the beginning of last year, or the beginning of last football season in college.
All right. Mike, answer me this question. Or riddle me this, answer me this, whatever you want to say. Is this offensive line going to be better than what it was last year for the next 2 years?
Overall, or in
run game? Run game.
Run game, yes. I think run game absolutely will be better.
You think it's gonna lose because of Trent Brown in the pass block?
I think that pass protection is going to take a step back, yeah. Because I think Garnett and McGlinchey are better for the run game. I think that physicality, but pass protection, we're definitely taking a step back.
Flax, I didn't see what your question was. Ask the question again, and I'll ask Mike for you.
Oh, there's questions in here. Hold on, I can take a look at it. I had the chat pulled up on
yeah,
here.
I have it up. I just didn't catch what it was.
Who was it? Was it Slacks?
Yeah, Slacks.
Rick Ross will tell you about pairs. Aha, aha.
Guys, either way, all of us fans are fucking excited.
Yeah, I think my favorite player out of this whole thing.
Oh, that's what it was. If our draft class was 100% healthy, what grade would you give us?
That's a really good question. I would be a high B. No, not a high B, not a high B. Maybe a regular B, not a high B, because I still think we should have addressed the guard position in the draft. But other than that, I liked it. I didn't like that we didn't do edge, but again, I knew this was a weak class for that, a weak class for pass rushers. So everything else I was actually pretty okay with. If they were, but I can't be happy about picking up so many injured guys. Can't. Dylan, I know I saw your face.
Hold on. I want to say this first, real quick.
Okay.
Steven Renteria says Joe left tackle, Garnett left guard, Rich at center, Cooper right guard, Mike at right tackle. Tell me what the fuck is wrong. Shaking my head. I think Mike just likes to argue.
I promise you, he's never watched Cooper play football. I promise you, he's never watched Cooper play football.
Ray says you're wrong, Mike. Trent Brown was injury prone and overweight and lacked desire for football anymore.
How was he injury prone? He missed 3 games.
I don't know. Yo,
and by the way, 49er fans, y'all are so fucking finicky, man. Let me talk to 49er fans real quick. If Trent Brown was still on the roster, y'all be talking mad shit. Oh, we got the best pass pro right tackle in the league. As soon as the team trades him away, oh, he wasn't shit. He got fat. He got lazy. Y'all are so fucking, y'all are fish out of water. Y'all flip flop so much. Like, I've never seen the fan base do this shit, man. It pisses me off.
What did I tell you a month ago before the draft? Trent Brown was going to get traded. Did I or did I not?
Yeah, but so what? That doesn't mean that he was garbage. Now all of a sudden he's got weight issues. No, he was injured.
I didn't say. I'm not saying that he was garbage. I just think
that's what the fans are like. Are killing him now. People are talking about his commitment to playing football. When the fuck was that an issue? The guy was pulling cars in the offseason trying to get in shape. He's got a commitment problem now. Like we just pull shit out of the air because we traded him away. And look, I understand the team didn't want him. He didn't help them in the run game. That's fine, but we don't got to trash the guy. All of a sudden, he's no good. Like Mike, I don't understand it.
Mike, I will say this: there was a report when he was injured with his shoulder. He was supposed to come back before he had the surgery, and he didn't come back. He chose not to.
So maybe that's what they're talking about.
That's what they're questioning: his commitment by not trying to play. That's the only logic I see in it.
I hear you. I'd rather have Beatles at guard in that situation. Who was it? The tweet that or the message that you read. I'd rather have Beatles at guard than Cooper.
I'm good on that one too, and I'm not arguing with you.
Say that.
What'd you say?
That's crazy. Beatles.
I said I can't agree with you on that either, and I'm not going to argue about it.
He's the human turnstile. You want him at guard?
You guys should really go watch Cooper's tape. You should really go watch Cooper.
Watch Cooper versus the 49ers, Mike.
Man, I watched Cooper before any of you guys. I watched him in high school.
And what's your opinion on him?
I think he's a lot better than Zane Beatles.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Wait, Mike, if he was from New Jersey, you'd be all over him.
No, but look, we even.
That's crazy.
You know what? I'm out of here, man. Fuck
No,
it.
you're not. That's the truth. That is the truth.
And
It don't matter.
also,
It don't matter how good he is. He could have 2 ACL tears, but my boy's from Jersey. He's making his team.
Mike really is like that with everybody from New Jersey. He is repping every player that comes out of New Jersey. He'll talk about him in the group.
And I'm New Jersey born and bred.
Player.
And I'm New Jersey born and bred, but nah, man. And Mike don't even live in Jersey. He live over the bridge.
I was born and raised, though, man. I still work in Jersey.
Oh, man. Mike, I love you to death, bro.
What about Magnuson? What about Tomlinson?
Tomlinson's going to get extended.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. But
definitely.
Cooper's not the guy at guard. That's all.
Mike, he's competition. He's competition. That's what I said.
I would be competition if they called me a guard and put me on the team. Don't mean I'm any good competition. I'm just there.
Nah, you're good because you're from Jersey, bro.
That guy is sucking up oxygen that someone else needs.
Hey, I just got to step away for 10 minutes, guys. You're still going to be on?
No, probably not. I think we're about done with this one, right, Nick?
Yeah, pretty much. I just want to make sure you heard me that I won our debate of DBs.
What was the debate on DBs?
That we wouldn't take a DB in the first 3 selections. Just bringing that up.
But not listen. As far as the draft, I just want to touch on one more thing. I think we had a pretty successful undrafted free agent group too.
Yes.
With
There were some
McFadden.
guys in there I was really excited about. Oh, let me get you guys' favorite players real quick while I pull up the drafts. No, we picked the DB in the 3rd round, Nick. Don't even try to play me, bro.
I said not the first pick in the 3rd round.
No.
You said the first pick in the 3rd round. Dylan, back me up here.
I don't know.
Hey, everybody go back and watch the YouTube debate on DBs with me and Mike and see what I said on the podcast or the YouTube channel.
We got him in the 3rd round.
I said
The
we
4th.
will not pick one in our first 3 selections. Maybe the 2nd, 3rd round pick, but not the first 3 selections. You said no.
I said, are we going to get a DB in the first 3 rounds? That was my question.
What?
I asked, are we going to get a DB in the first 3 rounds?
And I said no.
And we did.
The first 3 picks.
I said round. You
Look,
can't
Mike.
change my question.
Yo, I'm going to find it, and I'm playing that clip
Listen,
for your ass.
real quick.
I'm gonna make it your ringtone when I come over.
You got who's your favorite pick in this draft? Honestly, if you could pick one, just one. Dylan.
That's easy. Pettis.
Yeah, I knew that was going to be your answer. I mean, after all, you mocked them to us.
Hey, big shout out to Nick Peck too. He did some articles and mocked Mike McGlinchey to us, and
Mike
also
Yes.
what was the other guy?
I think he said something about Fred Warner, and so did Zach.
Yeah,
They both said something about
but
him.
those articles were put out, and Peck was high on McGlinchey, man, and came out of nowhere.
He nailed 2 offseason acquisitions, and he got a draft guy.
Yeah,
Nick did. So he was killed. I think he got 2 draft guys and 1 offseason. Westberg, Weston Richburg, whatever his name is. That was the other guy that Nick Peck nailed. So Nick, who's your favorite pick out of this draft class?
It's got to be between Pettis or I kind of like Warner too.
Yeah, I think Warner's mine. That guy, man, I didn't know a
He's
whole
a
lot about
tackling
him.
machine.
Yeah, he's fast. And listen, you guys know how much I liked Eric Reed in our system last year. I think Warner is going to be Eric Reed. I think they're going to move him all around, and he's going to be unstoppable, man. So I love the Warner pick. I really do. Tony, what about you, man? Favorite pick in the draft?
Warner. You know I called it, Mike, too. Warner. Big Warner fan.
Mike, somebody said they didn't like your shirt. They said they love our show but hate the shirt.
My brother bought the shirt for me. I'm wearing it. 49ers, baby.
Oh, wait, hold on. Nick won the debate, period. True. Nick won. The dashboard saying Nick.
You can't read your own messages that you type in the group chat. Get
They're
out of
not mine. They're right here. Don't debate to just debate.
Just saying, man. I asked the question: are we going to pick a DB in the first 3 rounds? Said no. We picked one in the first 3 rounds. I was right, man.
Hey, also, guys, we're going to be looking to add to Nothing But Niners. Also looking to, if anybody's good with websites as well, might need a little hand with that. If anybody's willing, send us a DM, or you can email myself at nick@nothingbutniners.com, mike@nothingbutniners.com. And if there's any interest in writing as well, guys, you can alwaach send over a sample to Scott@nothingbutniners.com and Zach@nothingbutniners.com.
Zach is with an H, Z-A-C-H.
Yeah, Z-A-C-H.
And if you want to play Fortnite, just hit me up on Twitter, Dylan Frazier 98.
Is that PlayStation or Xbox?
You know we run on the Xbox, dog.
Boo. You know I've got Fortnite and I've never played it before.
Well, we need to jump on there and play because I play with a couple of Twitter guys when I have time. I don't really have much time anymore working 2 jobs, but I'm on there sometimes if you hit me up, and if I'm still up, I'll play. But
I'm going to go shoot some now. I'm going to take over the TV for my kids. So
also, I know get this one thing out there real quick. I know people were asking in the chat if we were going to be coming out with any apparel. That is a yes. We will be coming out with some apparel. Going to be working on some designs and different things like that. If you have any design ideas or anything like that you want to check out, send them over to us, guys. You can email them to us. Hit us up on Twitter or anything else.
Twitter, Facebook, hit the website. There's an email. Email us on the website also.
Yeah.
So you can hit us there. And we're not just going to do apparel that says NB Niners or Nothing But Niners. Like, we're going to do like stuff that you're going to want to wear as a 49er fan, not just our brand. So you guys make sure you keep a lookout for that. I need to get going, guys.
Yeah. So, guys, make sure you follow us on all podcasts. Thanks for joining us today. And as Adrian Colbert will even say, above all else, stay faithful. Yeah.